Welcome to Sew Very Easy. My name is Laura, and today let's make these cute little sewing cubes. They are fabric, but there's cardboard inside of them, which will make them nice and firm so that we can use them and they're not floppy. They're very easy to make, and all we're going to need is some cardboard and 10 exact size squares. This is a 5-inch finished cube, and this is a 2-inch finished cube. And really, it is as simple as some cardboard, and it won't matter the size of the fabric. We need 10 squares exactly the same size. So in this case, these are 5.5 inches. Each one of these squares of fabric, we need to cut out a 1/4 inch from each corner. So it's a 1/4 inch by a 1/4 inch, and that will be cut out. So that is what we're looking at. Once those corners are cut out, we're going to take 2 aside and sew 4 together in sets of 2. One piece will be the front of the box, one will be the inside of the box. So if we're going to have directional fabric, we're going to have the outside of the box facing in this direction and the inside of the box facing this direction. So if these two were together, one's facing this way, one is facing that way. So we have the one on one side and the picture on the other side. If you do not have directional fabric, you can just sew them together. And we're going to pick these up, match them wrong side to wrong side, and stitch right from this cutout right to the other cutout, and just do a little back stitch. So we have the 4 of those sewn together. And when we do sew them together, we will never stitch over this last seam. We'll always be stitching right there in that cut. We now get to sew these 4 pieces onto one of the bottoms. So we're going to take that bottom piece, and we're going to lay it so the right side is facing down. Then we're going to put those 4 box sides on. We're going to be sewing that outside of the box onto this piece of fabric. So if you lay them out, it just might be easier to visualize before we start to sew those. So if I fold them together and lift them up, this will be the outside of the box. Pick those up and put them together. Sew from that cut corner to the cut corner. We're going to sew these 2 onto that bottom, and then these 2 sides onto the bottom. So once those 4 are all stitched on, we have this big cross of fabric. Once again, we have that little corner open. I'm going to press that bottom piece so that all of the seams are coming to the inside. Those seams in the center are just going to lay over top of each other. We're now going to sew all of those matching sides together. So just pick that up. So from that 1/4 inch cutout all the way up to that 1/4 inch cutout. This is what it looks like. So we can turn this right side out, and we're going to get a cardboard piece to fit inside. Now, not any cardboard will do. This is one time you can be particular about your cardboard. What we're looking for is a thin cardboard. Needs to be strong, but thin. That foam board is too thick. Thin cardboard like this or mat board will work. Mat board is a very strong, very thin cardboard. You can get mat board at your craft and hobby stores such as Michael's and Joann's. We started with a 5.5 inch square. So we're going to need to do our cardboard in 5-inch marks. If we started with a 2.5, we're going to have to do 2-inch, always a 1/2 inch smaller. Doesn't matter the size of the block, we just need to cut our cardboard a 1/2 inch smaller. So if we're going to start with 6, it'll be 5.5 inches. So that will now fit in because we did have that seam allowance. So in my case, I have a piece of cardboard, it's 5 inches by 20 inches. And I have creased that edge so that that cardboard can bend. And that's going to make a box. And this little piece should be able to stay inside. So I like to test my cardboard before I go any further. Fold it up, just stick it inside, and line up that 5-inch square to our sides and open that up. If that box is not fitting nice and tight, you might need to make some adjustments. It will depend on how thick the cardboard is and how accurate our 1/4-inch seam allowance was. So you might need to trim this up a little bit until it fits, and then make that bottom adjust accordingly. Just keep playing with it a little bit until it fits perfect. You will find that the only adjustment will probably be that thickness of the cardboard. Once I know it's going to fit, I'm going to put it right back in and line it up. I do want that to fit nice and tight, so I'm going to hold that cardboard down, just pull up all the way around so it has a nice flat front. From here, I'd recommend a little bit of glue. Now the glue really can be any glue at all. It can be a white school glue, a fabric glue, and what we want to do is put a little glue on that cardboard all the way around and then smooth this fabric in. I find if you just take another ruler and smooth it down with the ruler, you can get it really tight into those edges. And then just keep going around, smoothing it down, and let that glue stick. And that bottom of the fabric is going to come up and around to the bottom of this fabric. By smoothing that ruler in, it does give all of the edges a nice look. You can already see how nice and firm this box is going to be. We have one piece of fabric and that bottom piece. So we're going to glue that fabric onto that bottom and wrap those edges around. And I'd recommend that that glue dry before you put this in. Once that bottom is glued, we're going to be able to just slide it in. That's going to cover those seams along the bottom and tighten up that box. And that box is now done. It won't matter if it is a larger one like this or a small one. We're going to make it the same way. It really is a silly little project to make, but it is a lot of fun. We can customize this to match any room in the house. They'd be nice in the bathroom, on the desk, or even as little thread catchers by our machines. So it's just a matter of some fabric and a little bit of cardboard. Thank you for joining me today on Sew Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I have a newsletter. It's all free under Sew Very Easy. Thanks for joining me again. Bye for now.